Here is Ted Cruz on Hannity last night trying to argue that, yes, it's wind power that was the problem. And look at how tan he is. Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Oh, that smile.
Texas, rightly, and I would highly recommend you stay this way, stayed away from federal bureaucracy as it relates to your power grid, and I would advise strongly you continue to stay that way. That's not what the problem really was, is it?
Well, that's exactly right. Chuck Schumer there was engaged in all politics and not focused on facts or reality. The facts or reality are that Texas has some of the lowest energy prices in the country. The cost of living is affordable. There's a reason people are fleeing the state of New York. There's a reason people are fleeing the state of California, because the cost of living is so high that working men and women can't afford to be there, whereas in Texas, the cost of living is much, much lower. Now, we just came off of a very difficult week where the grid failed 4 million Texans. And so we need to have a serious examination about why that was, why the grid came short.
Pause it
but
for
one of the
second.
major
What's
elements
fascinating about this is he just told you why. Because it's so cheap. We allow these corporations to cut corners for once in a while events. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
Bingo. I mean, it's like, why is this car I'm selling you so cheap? Because I never fixed the brakes. I saved money. I passed that savings on to you. There's no brakes in this car. In fact,
these tires look bald.
Yeah, the tires are bald because I passed the savings on to you. I don't change the tires. Now, if you ask me, I'm going to hem and haw about it, but continue.
Examination about why that was, why the grid came short. But one of the major elements of that is actually the policy that Schumer is pushing for the whole country, which is the Green New Deal. You look at Texas right now, about 25% of our electricity capacity is wind. And yet, in the middle of this storm, that capacity dropped all the way down to 2%. You want to talk about reliability. The reality was in the cold, the wind turbines froze and the power generation wasn't there. That needs to be fixed. And by the way, that's the solution Schumer is trying to force on the whole country. And right now, the Democrats want to federalize power in the state of Texas. We need to make sure this never happens again, that you don't have 4 million people losing their power. And I got to say, Texans are ticked off that the energy capital of the world, that our grid didn't meet the energy needs of our state. And I'm
so precious. First off, we should just say, again, they cut corners on their wind turbines. They didn't have the heating elements in there that, yes, they're a little bit more expensive, but it's the way we give you discount rates by not making sure that you have electricity, for certain periods of time if it gets too cold. And then I love this fact where he's like, oh, I forgot. My comms person said, don't forget to show that you're pissed off about this, because you got to get inside the circle of trust. And you got to understand all of your constituents are pissed. So you've got to pretend like you're pissed too. And it just took
there's
him
another
too long.
boogeyman. It's not me.
It just took him
It's
too
that
long
AOC
to
woman
get to that.
parachuting in with her Green New Deal.
Yeah, and the $5 million that she raised for Texas while I was jetting off to Cancun. It's all her
Texans
fault.
are pissed. Good.
are ticked off that the energy capital of the world, that our grid didn't meet the energy needs of our state. And I'm confident Texas is going to make sure that doesn't happen again, not by doubling the cost of people's electricity bills, but by making the grid more reliable and more resilient.
Oh, okay.
That
you don't
doesn't
have to
happen again.
Exactly.
He
So
picked
how
that
is he
up
going
when
to make it
was
more
in- when he was
reliable
studying at
and not?
Harvard. He picked up that accent.
But that's the point. That's exactly what you were pointing out earlier about the ticked off thing, right?
Oh,
too?
yeah. He's supposed to say that. Like, oh, I got to recognize that everybody's pissed off about this. I forgot. This didn't represent a trip to Cancun to everybody else. This represented some real deprivation in some instances.
And then he goes off
loss of
there and he just puts a cowboy hat on and tips the brim down and walks off to music. Yeah.
Into the sunset. Yep.
Into the sunset. That's him. He really pulls that off well. He should smear some more mud on his face and go duck hunting again. That worked out last time.
Doesn't it?
This is what you call crisis communications help.
Exactly. Exactly. Get out there. He's on everything. He's going on podcasts, swearing on podcasts. Man, I'm a man of the people.